Hello Channel Neat viewers, I am DS and welcome to another episode on Channel Neat. Today's episode is inspired by one of the questions from our viewers. So if you do have a topic that you want us to cover as well, do comment in the comment section below, or you can also email us directly. Our email address can be found in our main page of our YouTube link. We'll try our best to do an episode to cover the topic that you liked. So one of our viewers wanted to know if you can groom a child to become an ENTJ. So I will discuss this topic using my personal experience when I was a child. Was I an ENTJ already when I was a child? First of all, I would like to say that my parents are both TI users. So neither of my parents are TE users. Since my parents are TI users, how did I become a TE user? Also, how did my NI develop? So in this episode, I will explain the progression of my TE usage. I will also explain to the viewers how my NI started to develop and when I realized that I have started to use NI. Because an ENTJ uses TE, extroverted thinking, as his dominant function and NI, introverted intuition, as his auxiliary function. So in this episode, I am going to explain how these two functions present themselves when I was a child.
When we were young.
Extroverted thinking. How did it manifest itself when I was a child? So my parents are true blue TI users. I remember a time when I was 5 years old. There was a conversation between me and my dad.
I was 5 and he was 6.
So I asked my dad, I've never seen you eat chicken. So mom can cook a lot of dishes including chicken, but my dad does not ever eat chicken. So my dad explained that he is born in the year of rooster and so he cannot eat chicken because he cannot eat himself.
You're amazing.
So during the time, given that I was only 5 years old, I remember that I did not question the validity of his statement. I actually believed it. So what actually happened was I immediately thought about the 12 Chinese zodiac signs. So I asked myself, which Chinese zodiac sign is the luckiest? And I determined that the Chinese zodiac sign that is the luckiest is the dragon, because there is no such creature known as the dragon.
Make everyone see that the dragon obeys.
So people born in the year of dragon need not worry about what they cannot eat. So if I trace back to history, I can think that that form of a reasoning is a form of TE reasoning, because I am trying to look from the outside point of view to think from the other people's point of view. Because the TI point of view is usually very introverted, is towards yourself. So I did not immediately think what I cannot eat, but I thought about what other people cannot eat. As I became older and older as a child, I became more and more sure that I am an opposer of TI logic, because both my parents are throwing TI logic to me all the time, and immediately I would try to process their logic and find fault with them. So by the time I was about 7 or 8, I tried to rebut TI logic with TI logic. So I would consider that my second phase of development, opposing TI logic. However, I use TI logic to oppose TI logic. So for example, my dad would say, you cannot read books because today I'm gambling, and books means 书 in Chinese, which is lose. So if you read books, you are going to make me lose money today. So I don't want to see any books. So I will explain, if I read all the books, then all the books would have been read. So there's no more 书, right? Then you won't 书. So there were a lot of incidences that I had this kind of a debate with my dad, and he cannot outwit me, because no matter how using TI logic to rebut TI logic, he is not very good at coming with a comeback. However, my mum is very seriously TI. So what actually happened was, she might try to convince me using statements like, I have eaten more salt, then you have eaten more rice.
Went back to fried rice, paradise, nasi goreng, very nice.
So sometimes I would say, of course, I am only 7 years old, how much rice would I have eaten? Then my mum would definitely say, hey, you are such an inferior child, how can you talk to a mummy like that? And because she always used the same argument that she has eaten more salt than I have eaten more rice, subsequently I also changed my point of argument. I said, since you have taken so much salt, why don't you have kidney failure? That was towards the time when I was 10 to 11 years old. I had more knowledge on science. This time round, my mum would go around telling all the neighbors that I was an inferior child because I talked back to her. So as I got older and older, I am better at spotting TI logic. It's just somehow so natural. Somebody say something, I would analyze a statement to see whether it is logical. And TE is this ability to spot flaws in logic. So in that regard, I believe that since young, I already have a disposition to use TE over TI. And since my parents are both TI users, this means that it is very likely that this TE-TI thing is not inherited. It's how your brain was built. Okay, so let's now talk about NI. So one thing to note about NI first is that NI and SE form a cognitive pair. So in order for you to use NI, you have to suppress SE. And during my childhood days, SE is really suppressed. My mum does not allow me to play with my friends until I was around 11 or 12, where I can go to a friend's home. I cannot go down to the playground to play by myself because my mum says that I would be kidnapped. TI logic, right? So as a child, I do not really get to play much in the outdoors. Neither do I have a lot of toys. Actually, I only remember having 2 toys in my entire childhood.
Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard.
So I'm going to now share with you an incident where I first found a trace of NI. So again, when I was 5 years old, I was walking along the pavement with my mum along Telok Blangah Road. So it was a very long pavement, so I decided to do something unusual. So I told myself, okay, I am going to walk with my eyes closed. So at that time, my mum was walking behind me and I decided to walk with my eyes closed to test my own confidence. So I just walked and walked and walked with my eyes closed until a voice told me, stop! That's enough. I probably would have already walked for 100 meters and I listened to the voice inside me and opened my eyes. If I had taken one more step, I would have fallen into a manhole.
Oh, here she comes, she's a man-eater.
So I remembered that incident until today and I treat it as evidence that I have very strong NI even by then, because it was this voice inside me that told me to stop walking. I do not know what would have happened if I had just taken that one step. I would have fallen. It looks as if it's actually more than 1 meter deep. And also because of that incident, I learned to trust my inner voice whenever it speaks to me.
To lose the inhibition, follow your intuition, free your inner soul and break away from tradition.
And I think this inner voice that speaks to me is synonymous to NI. I have also done some research on the manifestation of NI in childhood. I learned that children with NI, which is very rare and only appears in 8% of the population, so children with NI may start to think about death and spiritual things when they are very young. So I remember that when I was 8 years old, I already started thinking about death, how scary it is. I thought about existence, I thought about the future. So looking back, I already have NI. However, in comparison, my TE is very much developed because I get TI training every day. So there you have it. I hope this has given you some insight as to whether an ENTJ can be groomed. I personally believe that it is not inherited, so regardless of whether you are TI users, NE users, or whatever bundle you have or cognitive stacks that you have, you can have a child that is totally different from your own type, because MBTI type is about neural wiring in the brain, has nothing to do with heredity. I've also noticed in the capacity as a child psychologist, upbringing does not matter. The child may have a totally different MBTI type as the parents. So in my case, I am an ENTJ because of some predisposition and the way my brain was built. So right at the beginning, my brain was built to be an ENTJ, and that is how it is. So what about you? Do you remember about your childhood and how you already see some of the cognitive stacks, your dominant function and your auxiliary function appearing when you were already a child? Do share with me, comment below, okay? So we're going to produce a lot more videos like this one that you see, and if you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can continue to add value to you. And also, if you have enjoyed this episode, do like, comment and share. Okay, I'm going to see you in my next episode then. Goodbye.